Running an international agency, I constantly get asked, how do I manage this team of people literally located all over the world? We have people in Canada, US, Spain, UK, Argentina, Mexico, really all spread out over the world. And the answer to that, or why I started this kind of mindset, is first of all, I hated having to be stuck in one place when I worked at a business. That was actually the reason that I started doing my own business, that I wanted to be location independent. And secondly, because in those previous businesses I worked in, we always managed offshore teams. So it wasn't that strange of a feeling for me. And thirdly, I also believe that you don't have to stick to the local economy or your local city to rely on finding the right talent. A lot of times you'll find expert talent or someone that will match your team even better, regardless of where they are in the world. And we were doing this, back in 2018, way before the pandemic even hit. And now we're seeing this a lot, that companies, especially like big tech companies in the US, are hiring from Latin America, Asia, Eastern Europe, all over, right? They're now accepting the fact that they don't need to be in the same spot or in the same city to have good team members. So that being said, we want to make sure that we have the best team for our project so that we can deliver the best service. Now, of course, it is challenging, and the biggest challenge is the time zone difference. So how do we manage the time zone difference? It's basically, you get used to knowing, okay, who's on the Eastern time, how many hours ahead is Europe, how many hours ahead is Pacific or behind, and so on and so forth. So first of all, you need to kind of get that in your mind, especially if you're managing a team. What we do afterwards is, let's say that we have a developer who is in Canada and our project manager is in Europe. So that can be 7 hours or 6 hours difference. So of course, if the developer needs to finish something by that day that we need to send to the client, we don't want that the project manager has to stay up super late to get it because he's 6 hours ahead. So what we do in that case is we just give ourselves a buffer, give yourself a buffer of a day or two when you're delivering things to clients, and say, okay, it's due for the developer today, but I know that tomorrow, the day after, the project manager is going to check it, we're going to test it, we're going to QA, and then the day after we're going to deliver it to the client. So it's all about the buffer and the planning. I mean, you should be doing buffers anyway whenever you're doing client deliveries, but this is really important. So we want to make sure that we have that. Next thing that you want to do is have in place all the right tools. So you want to streamline your process as much as possible if you can. If you're an agency yourself or just some delivering to shoppers, the same thing. You want to make sure that, first of all, your process is very well defined, so that if you're not online, there's either a knowledge base that your team can look at, or you have an Asana board or a Monday board or whatever you use that clearly defines all the steps that they need to do so they can solve it themselves. And at the end of the day, you want to have a team that's autonomous enough that they can handle issues themselves. And thirdly, you want to also, use the tools like Slack and the communication tools. Plan meetings, like make sure you have meetings. If there needs to be a team meeting for one project or for one team, make sure that they're repetitive so that you're not there like constantly every week trying to figure out, okay, when are we going to meet this week and that week? You know that every Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, there's a call, and that it fits everyone's time zone. By doing so, you make sure that the team connects with each other enough, and that, this might be once a week, twice a week, it might be a daily stand-up. Of course, making sure that it fits everyone's time zone, that you're not doing ridiculous hours, but also that they can try to connect as much as possible. Because regardless if they're in a different time zone or not, at the end of the day, they're not physically with each other. So you want to make sure that people are getting to know each other on a bit of a personal level. That also helps the team become more cohesive, it helps with the teamwork, and it helps them want to assist each other and do a good job on the project. So having that personal connection as much as you can. And finally, I highly suggest that you do company-wide team meetings. Try to do activities on Zoom. A lot of people have done this during the pandemic, like happy hour on Zoom. But just because we're kind of free to roam around now, wherever you are, it doesn't mean that we need to stop this kind of connection or this kind of bonding that we want to try to do. So try to make it at least like a monthly activity where, everyone that can come from the company will join. Share some new things that they're up to, share some wins that you might have in the company. We've been doing, for example, donations every month to a different charity, so we like to share that. invite people to donate as well. Do it like a team activity, basically. So if you have any questions on tools that you need to use, or if you're having issues with your team working remotely, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm happy to give you some advice, or you can also book a free consultation on our website.